Alrighty, welcome Xavier coach Chris Mack to the dais, and we'll have him give an opening statement, and then we'll open it up to questions. We have a couple of mic holders on either side in the back. So Coach, we'll turn it over to you.
Sure. Team's excited to be here. You know, I'm proud of the effort our team has played with here over the last couple of weeks. Hasn't necessarily been easy. You know, we've dealt with injuries, we dealt with a lot of adversity, but I give a lot of credit to the kids in our locker room, the guys in our locker room, for believing in each other and continuing to fight and persevere. So we understand what's at stake, and we play a program we have a lot of respect for. Obviously, there's a lot of familiarity that I'm sure you're going to talk about, but you know, it really comes down to the players on both sides don't have that familiarity and their ability to sort of step up in the moment. And we're excited for Thursday.
We'll go right in the front row.
Hey, Chris. Last week you talked about how fortunate you felt to be staying on the East Coast and the Eastern time zone for that first weekend. Coming out here, what are the biggest challenges of coming to the West Coast, and how have you been able to deal with that since you got into town?
Yeah, I think adrenaline takes over. You know, the biggest challenge is Arizona, and that's it. You know, it's not the time change. You know, the flight's over with, the game's late, which we're fine with. I mean, we've had an awful lot of time to prepare, just as Arizona has. The biggest challenge is their team, and being able to defend them and being able to figure out a way to manufacture baskets against them, period.
Go on the left against the wall.
Coach, you just talked about the challenges, but what are the challenges of facing someone you know so well in Sean Miller?
I mean, I think that story was a story that played well the first time around. You know, I think, you know, it's great seeing him and his family and vice versa, but, you know, my players don't care about Sean, just as Sean's players don't care about me. And it is about our teams, and they've had a great season. He's done great things at Arizona since he's been there. And, you know, we want to take advantage of the opportunity. You know, our guys have earned the right to be here in San Jose to play for an opportunity to get to the Elite Eight. And that's really what we're focused on. So, you know, it's each of us have a few calls from each other's playbook. But other than that, you know, players are going to have to execute and figure out a way to get the job done tomorrow night.
Go back in the front.
Chris, whenever an 11 seed gets this far in the tournament, phrases like bracket buster, Cinderella get thrown around. I'm well aware that you aren't concerned about outside labels, but do you think your team has exhibited Cinderella-like qualities in a basketball sense in defying some of the odds to get to this point?
I think it depends on whose expectations you're trying to fulfill. You know, if you're trying to fulfill maybe the outside world's expectations, sure, you know, we could be thrown in that box. But, you know, I'm more worried about the expectations within our own locker room. And if those are in check and if those are the priorities, then I don't feel like we feel like we're an underdog. You know, you're only an underdog if you feel like you're the lesser team. And, you know, I don't feel that way about our guys, and I don't think they feel that way about each other. Now, having said that, we recognize how good Arizona is and has been for the entire year. And so it's a huge challenge. But every time you go a step of the way in this tournament, every challenge becomes tougher.
Questions? Hands? Let's go back on the left.
Coach, I was reading somewhere this morning that you guys keep a jar of ashes in your locker room. If so, what exactly is that?
Well, I mean, I think it's been well documented that we had a tough February. You know, we lost Edmond at St. John's. We lost Trayvon for a stretch of games. And we played some really good teams, and, you know, we lost 6 in a row. So I think it was after the 5th loss, you know, we decided to, you know, have a calendar made for each one of our players and talk about February, the challenging teams that we played, the results that happened, and really wanted our players to focus on turning the page. And even after that losing streak, by every bracketologist known to man, we were still a part of the NCAA tournament. However, Selection Sunday was a couple weeks from then. So we had to figure out a way to be able to turn the page and know that as low as maybe we feel, as bad as we feel, there's a lot of good things that can happen if we have the right mindset. And so we decided to have our players sort of burn those calendars. We did it in a big aluminum trash can in the locker room. We made sure the fire chiefs were out of the building. And then we bought an urn. Our GA, Alan Payne, went over to Walmart and, he tried to buy an urn. The only one that was available had frogs and roses on it, so didn't think that was very appropriate. So we bought a clear jar, called it an urn. I've never seen one, so at least up close and personal, so I couldn't tell the difference whether it was an urn or not. Put the ashes in there as a symbolic gesture that February's gone. Let's concentrate and move forward in March.
Real quick, Coach, how often do you look at that?
It's ever present. It's always on the scores table when we practice. It's always in the locker room when our guys come off the floor. We take it everywhere we go, so they're sort of forced to. Just as a reminder that good things and special things can happen as we look forward and not worry about what happened in the past.
Front row again.
Chris, against Maryland and Florida State, you were able to, in the interior, kind of go right at those teams. Does the fact that Markkanen can step out and shoot from range make it a little bit harder to attack the interior, or maybe easy in some cases?
I don't think it's easier to attack any of the teams in the tournament, but that's who we've always been. We wanted to be a team. We've always wanted to be a team that plays inside out first. We want to get the ball into the lane, whether it's through post-ups, through drives, through offensive rebounding, through plays. The team, I think, that gets the ball in there the most often gets to the foul line and can also generate better looks from the outside. And it's taken our team a little bit longer, especially with the loss of Edmond, who has put so much pressure on the defense and got into the lane. But I've always been a big believer of that. And part of that is because that's what Sean and Skip taught me when I was assistants for them. And so we really haven't tried to veer. And I think our guys have done a terrific job in the postseason with that in mind on the offensive end.
Third row on the left.
Chris, Jim Wazarski at the Enquirer.
Hey,
Good to
Jim.
see you again. I know that there is a game, and the point is to survive in advance, but what does yet another Sweet 16 mean for you, for this program? I guess that it has been this many times since 2008, 6 times, and
Right.
now you're, I think, 4th, right?
Yeah, I mean, I don't take it for granted, and we don't take it for granted because we know how difficult it is to win, let alone one NCAA tournament game. To be able to get to the second weekend is especially meaningful. But, the eye of the needle gets smaller, and the teams are trying to get in to get to a Final Four. You're going to run against great programs, great coaches, experienced players, talented players. But that's not going to lessen our desire and our want for the game. I mean, we're here to win. People may not expect us to win, but as I said before, I really don't take a whole lot of stock in other people's expectations. We're here to win. We're here to compete and to win. And the team that does that best tomorrow night will win.
Any other questions? Nope, we're good.
Thank you.
Thanks.
Yep.
Just a reminder, Xavier, locker room's open for, another 20 minutes or so. Right? Till 2:30? Yeah. Let me go. I guess it doesn't matter when I. All right, as we welcome Xavier to the dais, just a quick reminder, just give a look at your cell phone. If you could turn that on vibrate or turn it off. And then as far as any video, no video in here. You can take a quick still shot, but that's it with your smartphone. No one's going to see your feet. No one's going to see your feet. I hope not. All right, here we go. Okay, looks like we're all here. We've got Edmund Sumner, Quentin Gooden, Tyreek Jones, Trayvon Blewett, and J.P. McCura on the dais. And no opening statement. We'll open it up to questions. Guys, we got mics on either side. People put their hands up, and then they'll ask a question. Just give us your name and affiliation. So, hands, anybody? It's a quiet crowd. We'll go on the left, third row.
Jim Wazarski with the Cincinnati Enquirer. I guess we can start with any of you four, to be honest. Just opening thoughts on Arizona and being in the Sweet 16 again, and obviously this matchup Thursday.
I mean, Arizona's a great team. They're very, very big inside. They got athletic guards. I think we need to do a great job of containing the guards and the bigs and keeping the paint tight and forcing them into tough shots. We're all excited to be here. My freshman year, we lost to them, obviously, and it was tough. And we're excited to have another crack at it.
Yeah, just to piggyback off him, I would say it's a pretty good feeling to be back in the Sweet 16. Having done it freshman year, it's kind of refreshing. As far as Arizona, pretty much what he said. They're an athletic team, athletic guards. They play well together. They're well coached, and they're pretty big on the inside. So it's going to be a pretty tough battle.
Go ahead.
Yeah, I guess Quentin, we'll start. In general, with the program, I talked to Chris Mack earlier about another Sweet 16 for this program and the expectations maybe that there are for it. Coming in, is this what in the freshman class, what you expected when you look at Xavier and like, we're going to go to Sweet 16s, compete for Elite Eights and Final Fours, national titles, that type of thing?
I feel like we just play to win, and whatever happens, happens. We live with the results. Going to a Sweet 16, Elite 8, Final Four, them are great accomplishments, but ultimate goal is to win a championship, and not go to a Sweet 16 or a Final Four.
You can keep it. We'll go in the middle. We'll switch it up.
Justin Spears, the Daily Wildcat. I mean, this pretty much goes for anybody from the 2015 team. What do you guys remember about playing Arizona and just playing in that kind of environment?
I mean, the only thing I remember is the locker room after the game, because I never rewatched the tape. I just remember guys with their heads down and some crackers on the floor. People got a little frustrated, and that's about it. That's one of the reasons why I want to come ready to play tomorrow, because I don't want to have that feeling again.
Yeah, same thing. I just remember it being a good battle throughout the whole game, going back and forth. And, we were competing for the longest, but I think the last couple of minutes of the game, we just kind of gassed out and they ended up getting the best of us. But besides that, everything else seems pretty much vague to me. But I'm excited to get back out here tomorrow and go at it again.
Front left.
You guys have played Maryland and Florida State, both athletic teams. What's the difference between Arizona and those two teams when you watch the tape?
I would say individually they're a little bit smarter. They lock into little details, and I think we need to match that. We need to be ready from the start. We need to play together and tough, and I think it's going to be a battle tomorrow.
Anybody? We'll go back on the left.
Edmund, can you speak about this experience for you, being here at least, and what you're feeling and what it means to you to be here for Thursday and maybe through the weekend and beyond?
Yes. I was here. I was part of the 2015 team too, but I wasn't playing as well. But this year is a little different because I actually was playing throughout the whole year and just had a season-ending injury. But it's good to be here with the guys. They kind of keep my spirits up, and them winning just keeps my hopes up alive too. Seeing them succeed, that's the ultimate goal this year was for us to get back to the Sweet 16 and advance. So for them to get back here, it's great, especially all the adversity we had to face throughout the whole year. It's just great to be here.
How have you tried to stay involved or to help these guys or help the guy next to you, I guess, since you've been hurt? Because I'm sure trying to balance the mental part of not playing, rehab, and then still being connected to your guys.
I just try to give them words of encouragement, especially Q. Sitting on the sideline, being able to see it on TV, I kind of see more than I did when I was playing, actually. So, him being a freshman, not knowing that, and then him having to fill big roles, I just try to keep him up, keep his spirits up, keep his confidence high, and just let him know it's going to be ups and downs. He just has to keep pushing, especially him being point guard. Everyone's looking at him. So if he's calm and collective, everybody else follows.
I guess, Quentin, can you just kind of piggyback off that a little bit with your relationship with him and how that's changed or he's helped since the injury and you having to play more of a role?
Ed's helped me a lot. I feel like I followed every footstep, he's ever guided me. And, I feel like it all started in practice. Our very first practice, we went head-to-head and he dominated. And just, went back and watched film with Coach Steele. And he also, as he said, shared some words of encouragement, not to get down and things like that. So, Ed's really, helped me, I guess, guided me through this whole path.
I guess any of you guys can speak to this. People will see the seed number and sort of put Xavier in a bracket buster, Cinderella type of thing. But considering where you guys came from a year ago, 2 years ago, preseason rank, do you guys view yourselves as an underdog at this point? Or do you sit here feeling, this is where we belong, and we don't feel that way, I guess? That could be anybody.
To be honest with you, we don't really look at the number at all. We're really not worried about what others think of us. We're just worried about us coming together as a team and playing for one another.
Yeah, we never looked at ourselves as an underdog. I don't think, in my opinion, it was just all about making the tournament. And then, once we made it, it didn't really matter who was in front of us. We were just going to go play our game.
All right, good. Take another one here in the front.
Tyreek, Chris Mack said that you guys are a team that likes to play from the inside out. How important is it going to be to defend their bigs tomorrow, and what do you specifically have to do to challenge them tomorrow?
We come out at the beginning of the game just trying to be tough, and just when we watch film, we lock in the details and see what their bigs do best, and we know how to defend them. And from our toughness and our ability to score the ball inside, we go from there.
Does it make a difference that they have a 7-footer that can step out and shoot threes, and how do you plan on defending that if you should be matched up with them?
I don't change the way how I defend. I know some guys are different. Like I said, I just lock into the details and what players do best and how to just defend them. If he shoots threes, be there on the catch. If he scores most of his points from a right-hand hook, sit on his left shoulder. That's just it.
All right, we good? Anything else? All right, thanks, guys.
Thanks.